First item on our agenda is 18 Carroll Ave, a continued hearing. You come up. If you could just give us a quick overview to remind us and, any new information. We have some new information that you submitted, so just go over any of that.
Yes, yeah, we can do that, and I just have a prepared statement, if I can read that to the board.
Sure.
My family is requesting a variance for my property at 18 Carroll Avenue in order to build an in-law addition for the following reasons. Due to chronic illness such as type 1 diabetes and severe spinal stenosis, I'm at the point where I need a one-level dwelling. Due to the side effects of these disorders, such as diabetic neuropathy and decreased mobility, the use of stairs has become increasingly difficult for me. My wife and I are both longtime residents of Burlington. We've been here 42 years, and we consider Burlington our home and have no wish to leave. Having our son move in with us would be an ideal solution. It would allow us to stay here and also give our son the opportunity to remain in Burlington. He was born and raised here, and this arrangement would also allow our special needs grandson, Jack, to get the care he requires. Due to a surveying error that happened back in 1949, as far as we can determine, our house sits at an angle on our property. This means that even a modest addition would require a variance. The configuration we have come up with causes no discernible impact to our neighbors. We're hoping that this board grants us this variance.
All right, if you could just, this is a continued hearing, so we went through a lot of information, but you've submitted some new information to us, a couple new plans, so if you could just kind of go through that, through the details. I know you sent the architectural drawings, so we've had a chance to look at that, but if you could, I know you sent some plans that kind of depict the shift in the lot, so if you could kind of run us through that, then we can have a discussion.
Yeah, suggestion at the last meeting was that we move the addition forward about 3 feet or so, with the thought that may clear the setback line, but it doesn't. Literally, the addition would have to be set forward so that our garage would literally be in the middle of the street before it cleared that the setback on the left rear corner of our house stands. It just won't work, and of course, we'll be violating the setback in front of the house.
I think you have the documentation of the revised plot plan that we had done depicting it 3 feet forward, and it gained us about 9 inches or so in from the setback, but the entire length of the side of the property would still be over the line to some degree, and that brings it pretty much, as you can tell from the drawing, right up to the front setback line. The other depiction was just a hand sketch showing just how far, as my father mentioned, how far forward the actual addition would need to be before it cleared the side, and at that point, of course, it's well into the street. And as you can see, it's just, due to that angle, it's just really unfeasible to move it in any direction without requiring a variance.
All right, do you have anything else right now? We can take discussion from the board. If you have anything else, we can come back. Mike, you have any comments?
Lisa,
What's that?
they need to introduce themselves.
Oh, sorry, can you introduce yourselves again?
I'm sorry.
Just your
Introduce
names?
yourself.
Oh, I'm David McGann, Sr.
David McGann, Jr.
Okay.
Mike, this time.
John?
No, I'm gonna wait.
Mark?
Yeah, I did take a look at, you did forward to our clerk here, the Google depiction of the lot showing that it would have little or no impact on the side variance if we were to allow it. And so all of this, this is how it looks now, this depiction?
Yes, that's a current photo.
And so the variance you're looking for is what, about 3.5 feet, or is that?
3
that what
feet,
you-
9
that what you're
inches.
looking for?
Yeah.
And so describe to me the mistake that occurred back at the time that the property was sold? What happened there?
You look at the home from the front, it looks normal, looks fine. But on the, when the plot plan is done, engineered plot plan, the house is askew. If you look at the bottom of Carroll Avenue, look up the end of the street, the last 1/3 of the street goes off at a little crook, like that. And so the property lines are all
Right.
at an angle.
Okay.
And I think I sent that picture along just to kind of emphasize it to my father's point. Although on paper, it looks as if the house is sitting crooked because of the way the neighborhood was built out, really no one knowing that these angles existed. You can see there's a natural, well, not natural, but there's a rock wall put in place between the backyard of the
Right.
house on Robert and ours, with trees, so there's a natural divider. There's quite a big space between their backyard and where the addition would be. So all of this looks this way on paper, but in reality, the neighborhood looks as if everything was square on the lot.
I have nothing further at this time.
Charles?
So in the new information that you gave us, there's looks to be like an older plot plan. Just talk about that for a minute and where you found it. Did that come with the house when you?
Yeah, my father can speak to that, but that plot plan was the one he received when they purchased the house in '77.
Okay.
I believe it was written in, I think you may have a 1941, I believe is when the request for the subdivision was made, and that might be 1949. that
49, I think that
plan
is,
was
is that
done.
at Charles Malloy, 1949.
Okay. So if this is the current plot plan, just if my
No, the
memory
plot-
serves. Yeah, but if this was the current plot plan, my memory serves me, you could do this addition without a variance. Is that
That's correct.
okay? Okay, I don't have anything further.
I don't have any questions. No questions at this time.
All right, just to follow up on what Charles was talking about, so this plot plan that, you know, the original one that you had, where, it looks like it's stamped by a registered surveyor. It's hard to read, but it is stamped, so, it looks, your new plan here is showing that the existing dwelling is 37 feet off the lot line. This plan is showing 47 feet. Is that the type of shift in the lot that we're talking about, 10 feet?
If you just, will you give me a chance to look at
Yeah,
that?
sure.
So it's 37 here to here.
Yeah, and this is 47. Which 20, 34 is 54, 26, give or take, right? So if it shifted that much.
One of the things that it might be one of the biggest changes when the plot plan was done, the rear of the property farthest from the street was found to be about 8 feet closer to the street. And so when the variance was granted to the house behind us, the last, back 8 feet of our backyard was actually part of their property. And so that kind of started the whole cycle of figuring out where the lines were. So I don't know if I can speak to how, why it shows 10 feet there, but I can certainly account for why it might show 8 feet, because that was certainly part of the discovery when the variance was given, and the plot was decreased by that amount.
Yeah. I mean, looking at this, it definitely looks like something changed since the time that the house was built and to now. And, you know, like Charles said, it looks like this addition would fit if you put it on this original plot plan. You wouldn't need a variance. I'm just trying to tie point A to point B. And, you know, I saw this for the first time tonight, so we're just gonna have to kind of wrap our heads around. I just wanna make sure that this original plan is accurate and that we can tie it back to what you're trying to do now, and then obviously something changed, so there's probably something we can do, but I wanna put a little bit of thought into that, so for now, I'm gonna open it up to the public. and see if anyone has any comments. Is anyone here from the public that would like to speak on this, in favor or against? Come on up to the microphone, introduce yourself.
Carrie Housen, formerly McGann, I'm their daughter. And I just couldn't, can attest to the fact that when the house that is now behind us, or behind my parents, on Susan Ave was built, originally the variance was granted, the house was built, and then we started realizing that there was a lot of errors in the surveying. And the house, the people that own the house behind us, found that they technically owned about 8 feet of the backyard of that we had lived on all those years. I think I was about, 18 or 19 or something like that when that happened. And they basically, my parents did not contest it. They said, okay, if this is your property, then this is your property. And they took those 8 feet of our previous backyard and moved the fence. I mean, we lost a big chunk of our backyard. So that's probably what, I'm not a surveyor or an architect or anything like that, but that's probably what is making everything look so different, because it's very different from when I was a kid even, there's, and that was no fault, nobody knew that, and my parents were kind enough to just say, okay, it is what it is, and that's your property now, so, they were kind enough to be agreeable to that, and I think that that's something to be said for them.
Okay. Thank you. So, do you know when that shift happened? It looks like, according to your new plan, you have 38 feet as your front yard from the street to your existing house. Again, going back to this original plan, it shows 30. So when you say you lost the 8 feet in the backyard, you picked it up in the front as well. You picked it up on the other, so the size of your lot didn't change.
No, it's 10,000 square feet.
Yeah.
It's
So
just
there
a
wa- so it
parallelogram,
was just a
not a
shift
square.
in one direction.
Yeah.
So you lost some and then you picked some up on the other end. Okay. And that's what you're thinking happened.
Not exactly, actually, it's at a bit of an angle, because the street's at an angle, but we still have 10,000 square feet.
Okay.
So in the front and the back are square and continue to be square even with the new plan, but the sides are not square as if it was, it's a 10,000 square foot lot. It looks on paper like a square, and it's more like a parallelogram where the sides of the property are the angles. Which,
Okay.
so we have property that's technically on the driveway of our neighbors to the right, and obviously we need a variance on the left because of how close we are to their side, so. Front and back are square, though,
Okay.
to the house.
And when the variance on the lot behind you was granted, they just redid their plan. They didn't redo, that was just a discovery on that end. There wasn't any, there was no new subdivision done and recorded to adjust all the lot lines or anything like that. I couldn't find anything, but,
Not to my knowledge. As a matter of fact, I don't know whether they requested a variance or not, but this is about 15 years ago, actually, this happened. And I never got anything in the mail like I was required to do, to send certified letter to all the abutters.
they must have,
I never received anything.
they might have just done a survey and found out that something was amiss, and it might not have been a variance per se. They might have been building in the setbacks, so.
I believe the land behind us is always 2 lots on paper, owned by the same person. One was used mainly for his garden, and the other was where the house was. So there was always a plan to have his son build on that land, but one of the few things that I can remember around that time was that it was kind of an informal request, which they didn't object to, and I think at the time Burlington might have had a half-acre minimum for a period of time, and I think that may have had something to do with the fact that or maybe it was a quarter acre, but they would be less than a quarter acre even, and they needed a variance, I think, due to the lot size, not the shape, to build a house on it.
Yeah, back when these lots were created, the zoning would have been 10,000 square feet, so that's why a lot of them down there are 10,000 square feet. Okay. I don't know that I have a problem with this personally. I'm just still trying to wrap my head around the old plan to the new plan and trying to tie it all together. I just think I need to put a little bit more thought in it. Does anyone else have any thoughts on tying those together or any questions about it right now? Any comments, or is anyone else comfortable, not comfortable?
I'm comfortable with it.
I'm
You know,
fine
I
with
think
it. Comfortable with it, yeah.
if this is, you know, kind of a situation where you're looking at the plan, and it was clearly squared, here it's not, you know, we're not. I think, I'd be in favor of moving forward.
The fact that they could have done it on the original plans off of
Yeah, I'm just trying to get from that plan to this plan 50 years later. I just want to make sure that it's right, but it seems like it is, so like I said, I don't really have a problem with it. I'm just trying to get there. But, well, at this point, we can, if anyone would like to make a motion to close the hearing. Close the public hearing, yeah.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0 to close the hearing. All right. Any more discussion from the board? Does anyone want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 18 Carroll Street. 18 Carroll Ave, for a side setback variance of at 11.3 feet, as shown on plot plan dated December 20th, 2018.
1.6, right? Is that what it says?
Yeah, 11.
We're just,
That's it.
yeah, it's 11.3 is advertised, the most recent. I think that was, we have a couple of plans here. We're just making sure we reference the right plan.
This was-
The 11.31 was the original one.
Oh, yeah, here it is, here.
Yeah.
What'd you have for a date on that?
It's, December 20th, 2018.
The November 3rd,
No.
2018. is
November
the-
3rd, 2018.
Yeah, November
this one.
3rd, 2018.
Oh, look out the wrong one.
Yeah, because the other one has 11. Oh, 6.
Apologies. So it's dated November 3rd, 2018.
Okay, the motion is made to approve the variance for 18 Carroll Ave to a side setback of 11.3 feet as shown on the plan submitted November 3rd, 2018. We have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
Thank you.
We're all set. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Sorry, just a piece of advice, personally. You might want to go out and get a new recorded plan, so you know where your lot is. It might cost you a few dollars with the surveyor, but it seems like you already have it. You might just want to record a solid plan, that way you know where your lot lines are. Just a piece of advice. You don't have to do it.
Yeah, sorry.
The next item on our agenda is a new public hearing for 88 Muller Road. Brenda, can you read that in for us, please?
The petition of Dan Reynolds for property at 88 Muller Road is shown on map 59, parcel 24 of the Burlington Assessor's map. The applicant is seeking a variance to construct a one-story bedroom and sunroom addition. The addition is proposed to be 13.8 by 29.2 feet, requiring a variance due to the right side of the dwelling to be less than 15 feet required sideline setbacks. The town of Burlington requires side setbacks to be 15 feet, Article 5, Section 5.2. In addition, the existing foundation in the right side dwelling shows to be less than 15 feet required for sideline setbacks. That requires relief from the board. As shown on plans filed on November 29th, 2018, and copies on file with the town clerk's office.
Good evening, my name is Dan Reynolds, Avatar Construction.
All right, if you could just give us an overview of the proposal, why you're looking for a variance.
So basically, what we're trying to achieve here is we're just adding on an existing foundation that was previously built. There was an addition on top of that. The previous owners had torn it down. So I sold the job unknowingly that the setbacks were already out of they're already encroaching. So we had our own plot plan done and realized this. And basically what we were trying to achieve here is just build on existing foundation, make it structurally sound, create an as-built for you guys, and then that's basically what we're trying to do, is just try to get that approved. Because we're over on the right side setback by, I think, 1.4 feet.
Okay, try to start with you if you have any questions.
Don't, not at this time.
Charles?
What was originally there?
There was an addition, one-story addition.
Just like a family room or,
Yeah, and all we're doing on this new one is just a bedroom. There's no bathroom, none of that in there.
you're not doing anything structurally to the foundation?
We are, we're gonna be, the foundation's old, so we talked to the building department, and they said to us that, we dug around the perimeter, outside perimeter, to see how structurally sound it was. So what we're doing is building like a knee wall around it, about halfway up, and pinning it to it, and that'll make it structurally sound. So
Okay.
basically what we're building is another one-story addition on the same footprint.
Did the building department ask you to do that for structural reasons? Okay. That's all I got.
Mark?
I don't have anything right now.
John?
I'm just curious about what was there before, and if there was a foundation there before, if there was that one bedroom there or whatever was there, why didn't that have a variance for it? Perhaps the reason why is they had them take it down because they might have did something before.
No, what happened was the previous owners, not the Vigliones, something happened to their mother or whatever. The house used to be a two-story house with an addition. So basically, it shrunk down to one person living there, so they tore it down. The reason why they tore it down, I don't know why. But that's what I'm being told by the client.
That's my point. I mean, it was 13 feet off the side, 13.8 off the side of the house before, so it would have had to have had a variance, right?
Unless it was built unless it was built before the setbacks.
We tried looking for the old plot plan, it wasn't even recorded. I think we found a really, really old one, but it didn't show that particular addition, so.
Again, that's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point. I'm just thinking, that's all.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not gonna change the density of the house or anything. You're not really even gonna notice it from the street or anything, so I'm not really opposed to it on those types of levels or anything. But I'm just curious as to how you got here.
Mike?
So structurally, what's there now? Is it just the foundation, or is it still
Yeah, it's a foundation,
just the foundation?
cross wall.
Okay.
Yeah, we had our structural engineer out there, he looked at it, it's fine, we just had to do that knee wall around it,
Yep.
pin it, we could build on top.
So were you on the plot plan that you provided, where it says proposed addition, and it's showing the footprint of the foundation, that's existing foundation?
Correct.
Okay. And you don't know when that was installed, when it was built?
As clarify, one thing, is the current owner the one who tore that area down, or was that the previous owner?
I think it was the previous owner, I can't say that 100%, but I'm pretty certain that it was the previous owner that was there. Because the Vigliones had purchased that house, I believe, a couple of years ago, so it would have had to have been done before they were there.
Okay, thank you.
And if need be too, I could provide structurals, stamped structurals when we're done, as-bills, if required.
Well, you'll need to provide that to the building department, but that's, all right, I mean, John, in my opinion, raises a good point, whether, was that built and really not allowed back in the day, and now there's just a footprint there? If it had been built and, had either gotten a variance before or been built before the setbacks, that would be one thing. But if it was built and then had to take down and now, building back on it, giving a variance for something that wasn't supposed to be done in the first place. But we'll have to think on that a little bit. So for now, what I'll do is I'm gonna open it up to the public. If there's anyone here that would like to speak in favor or against. Seeing none, why don't we leave the public hearing open for now in case we continue this?
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
All right, does anyone else have any other questions or comments or any other information that you think we might need for this?
Yeah, I think we might need some more information.
Kind of think of the same thing.
Yeah,
Well, I'd just say we should think also about, it's not the same owner.
Agreed.
You know, if this person bought the house 2 years ago, they're not, even if that did happen, they're not the person who
Right.
did that.
Right.
For whatever reason, they have a need for it now, it's there, so, I mean, I can separate it for me. If he had said it was the owner, the original owner, I'd be, yeah, let's wait and see and study on it and stuff. I'm just saying, if whatever the board wants to do is fine with me, but just another way to think about it.
right.
And honestly, I wouldn't be here either if that was just the one owner.
Is there any way you can go back to the building department and see what the historical analysis would be?
Sure, they'd have some kind of information, yeah.
So something.
Yeah, I think, I agree with what John's saying, but I think I'd be a little bit more comfortable knowing kind of a little bit more of the history of this and when that was installed and, you know, the reason that it was torn back down. Again, I'm not really opposed, I just don't want to, right now, I'm not comfortable approving it with the possibility that it was something that someone did and they shouldn't have done. And now we're just, you know, saying it's okay. I agree with what John's saying, it's not necessarily the new owner's fault, and maybe even with that information, we clarify that and know that it wasn't, you know, them that did it, and so it might still be all right, because I can understand you're 13.6 feet instead of 15. If there was no foundation there, you'd probably just build inside the setback, but the foundation is there, so. So what I would ask, it sounds like we'll probably continue this to the next hearing. I'd ask to see if you can, maybe even the building department would have some information, or if you could just find out, you know, when the foundation was installed and when the addition that was on top of it was torn down and the reasons for that.
Okay.
If you can find it, the building department should have some kind of certified plot plan for when the foundation was installed, unless it was installed without the
Yeah, the
knowledge.
plot plan that I submitted, that they had a record for, I think I turned it in, but it was really, really old.
Do you have a copy of it now?
What do you guys do? They gave me an original and I sent it to somebody in the building department, or, I don't have it.
We didn't.
I know they have
The building department?
Yeah, they have it.
Okay.
So if this was livable space, then somewhere it should have been captured somewhere along the line.
Right. the building-
Assessors, you know, building department, the assessors, something.
Right.
So you're suggesting dig up what I can and then.
You can just submit it.
Hearing, or just submit?
Yeah, we'll come to another hearing. We'll have to vote at another hearing. But if we can just clarify those points, you know, it should just easier for us to make a decision.
Absolutely.
So, I would suggest, you know, if you have that, if you can either find that original plot plan again that shows, did that plot plan show this addition on the plot plan? Do you know?
Oh, Scott, it was such a long time ago.
Okay.
I don't recall.
Well, that's what we'd be looking for,
Yeah.
you know, if that was an addition, then maybe the one you have is just the original dwelling. We'd be looking for just proof of when that went in and why it was so close to the lot line at that time, and, you know, why the addition was torn down. I just want to make sure it wasn't torn down because they weren't supposed to build it in the first place.
I understand.
So we clarify that. The building department probably has some of that information, so if you can follow up with them, see what you can get, and forward it on to Joellen, and she'll give it to us, and then we can continue to the next hearing, which is, February 5th.
Okay, will you guys be sending out a notification email or anything?
No, it's just continued, so we don't need a new
Okay,
notification.
so it's February 5th?
Yes,
Okay, same time?
same time, 7:30, yep. All right, so we'll take a motion.
Make a motion to continue the hearing to February 5th.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to continue Muller Road to February 5th. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? 5-0. All right, we'll see you on the 5th. Any more information you can provide is helpful.
Okay, well, will do.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on our agenda is a new hearing for Burlington Woods. Charles, can you read that in for us, please?
The petition of Phillips Lighting North America Corporation for property located at 3 Burlington Woods Drive, as shown on map number 41, parcel number 98-5 of the Burlington Assessors Map. The applicant is seeking a special sign permit pursuant to Article 13, Sections 13.1.4.2, 13.2, and 13.1.3.2.4 of the zoning bylaws to permit the replacement of the existing Phillips sign with a new wall sign to read Signify to be 35.43 inches in height by 145.55 inches in length, to be located on the building elevation facing Route 128 at the roof line. The full sign will read Signify Color Kinetics, including the company logo, and will be 70 inches in height and 693 inches in length. Article 13, Section 13.1.3.2.4 and 13.1.4.2 permits wall signs in the IG district above the first floor level to a maximum size of 6 feet in height and 6 feet in length.
Hello.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. For the record, Attorney Mark Vaughn here tonight representing Phillips Lighting North America in connection with the application. With me tonight is Rick Durkee, who's with Jones Lang LaSalle for the Signify building here at 3 Burlington Woods, and also Jeff Sara, who is with Batten Brothers Sign Company. I think you know Jeff from other matters. So we're before you in connection with the application for 3 Burlington Woods. The board may know Phillips Lighting North America has had a presence in this building for quite some time. And they have, I think, been here since 2005. They occupy about 66,000 square feet of space in the building at 3 Burlington Woods. Very proud to call this their corporate headquarters. And they are going through a name change process right now where Phillips Lighting North America is becoming Signify. And as a result of that, they are simply looking to have a corporate name change, rebranding to go along with that new name. So the application that has been submitted, I think it's pretty straightforward. It was advertised to be the entirety of the color kinetics with the new sign. So for the purposes of the overall dimensions, we included everything. But I think it's what's noteworthy is that the size of the Phillips sign, which is up there today, is going to be significantly reduced. So that sign is 3.5 feet tall by 19, a little over 19 feet in length. So it's about 67 square feet in size. All capitalized letters, as you can see from the photo of the building there. And the Signify sign, which would take its place, is 2.9 feet in height by a little over 12 feet in length. So it's about 35, close to 36 square feet. So it's about a 50% reduction in the overall square footage of the sign. Again, for the purposes of the legal ad, we needed to advertise the entire box, if you would, around both the Signify and the color kinetics. So that did show up for advertisement purposes. But in terms of the signage that's on the building, it's going to be markedly less than what's up there today. So the Signify has its logo, which is the circle around the S. I think you could probably make it out more clearly on the attachments that were provided on the application. I know this might be a little bit harder to read from a distance, but yeah. So that represents how the sign would appear on the building, and otherwise there'd be, no changes other than that. So happy to answer any questions. I know Jeff did submit as part of the application just the schematic plan showing how the sign would be installed on the building as well. I think that was the first sheet of the handout, so.
All right, Michael South, you got any questions?
I do not.
John?
Yeah, so you know how the sign now changes colors?
The,
Does that still do that?
The color kinetics does. We're not altering that.
So that's not, color kinetics is staying exactly the same.
That's staying exactly as it
The
is.
square footage of the Phillips sign is gonna be cut almost by 50%.
Correct.
I'm good.
And other than that, it's only a change in the color.
Correct. Their signature color is this green color, which they want to have as part of their, obviously, that's their brand and appearance. They want to reflect it.
And then we always have a question regarding the lumens, and
Yep.
so,
The,
is that on the plan itself?
the lumen calculations are on page 1. From, excuse me, from International Light Technologies. And it's 78 lumens, I believe, is the calculation with the green face.
I have nothing further.
Charles?
All my questions have been asked.
Brenda?
No, no questions. Thank you.
I just have one question, which doesn't really change anything, just more curiosity. On the proposed renderings to see what the sign looks like on the building, is there a reason for the amount of space between the new sign and the color kinetics, the existing sign? It looks like there's, it looks like you're cutting it in half from the Phillips, but it looks like it's on the other half away from the sign. Is there a reason for that?
I think the intention was to balance the open space on the left-hand side of the building
Okay.
curve, so it's essentially centered in that available area that is left over.
All right, because when I first looked at it, I first just looked at the picture before I read through all the notes, it almost looked like it was two separate signs, like two different companies. It doesn't really bother me, it was just, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a mistake or if it was gonna look different. That's it, it's not a major thing, it's more curiosity than anything. This is a public hearing, I'll open it up to the public, if anyone's here to comment, please come up. Seeing no one,
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
motion made and seconded to close the public hearing, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Anyone else have any other comments or questions?
Nope.
We'll entertain a motion. Yep.
This is just, I only have that. So. I'll make a motion to approve sign variance for 3 Burlington Woods, Phillips Lighting, North America Corporation, as shown on plans dated 12/17/18, pages 1 through 3, with the condition that lumens do not exceed 90 lumens per square foot, and no other sign, even if by right. It's probably already on
The motion is made to approve the sign for Burlington Woods, signify, of the plans, referencing the plans dated 12/17/18, pages 1 through 3. Conditions that the lumens be not more than 90 lumens per square foot, and that no other signs on the building are allowed even if by right. We have a second.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0.
Thank you very much. Enjoy being part of the Burlington community and will continue to be, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the next and last item on our agenda is a discussion item for 2 to 10 Wayside Road. Mark, you're presenting on this too?
Very brief, if you'd like.
Sure.
So, as you may recall, Mr. Chairman, we were before the board last year for a variance for Wayside, for signage that would go along the rear portion of Wayside that was facing out to 95, Route 128. Had a lot of discussion with the board at that time, and I think we had a couple of meetings where we modified the sign package to come up with a uniform design, backlit and all that, which they're going forward with. They actually do have a permit application that has been submitted to the building department for one of the signs, but the permit has not yet been issued yet. So we just wanted to get a 6-month continuance extension of the variance decision so that they can process the applications for the tenants. And all of it would obviously be compliant fully with what your requirements were in the sign permit variance decision, but just, they didn't want to bring it down to the wire because I think it's expiring on February 20th of this year. So that's really it.
All right, does anyone have any questions? Mike? John? Mark?
Nope.
Charles?
No, I mean, I like the sign package, and I definitely want them to continue to do it, so.
Brenda?
No questions.
I don't have a problem with this, I just got a question for you, Mark, on this. So since this is one approval for 7 different signs,
Yep.
does the one sign permit mean you enacted it, or is each one individual? I'm just curious whether we're gonna have to come back if the 7th sign isn't
It's a
done.
fair question. Our interpretation of it would be that since it was approved as, a package, that the tenants could change over time, even as long as they comply with the backlit provisions and the other requirements that you had in there, that each sign can have more than 2 colors and the size and all that, as soon as one permit is issued, then it vests the decision, because you've acted in reliance and you've installed. So,
Yeah.
We discussed that issue. I thought that didn't we discuss that issue? I thought that, did that come up? Do you remember?
did to some degree, that, we would not need to come back to the board each time you had a new tenant that came in that wanted to
Right.
put a sign up, as long as it met all of these criteria that are set forth in the
Right.
decision.
Right, and it is one decision, so I would agree with you, I just,
Yeah.
I don't wanna, not that it would really be a big thing, but, in a year from now, if you didn't have all 7 signs up, I don't see a reason to come back. Like you said, they can change over time, and the provisions for what they need, the criteria is fine, so I just, to make sure we're on the same page about that, so. I don't have a problem with this, you're just looking for 12 months, 12 months extension.
We were actually asking
Six.
for
Oh,
6
six?
months, yeah.
Even better.
Yeah.
Okay. Would anyone like to make a motion? Wait, no, this is not a public hearing. Okay. So, but we still need to vote on it, right? Yeah, okay. Anyone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to extend, is it 10 Wayside?
2 to 10.
2 to 10 Wayside. The special sign permit for 7 wall signs to August 20th, 2019.
Is that the right date?
So, 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Welcome to board members, and welcome back, Mr. Sullivan. Nice seeing you again.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. All right, has everyone had a chance to review the minutes from our last meeting?
Yes.
Anyone?
Motion to accept the minutes?
Second?
Motion made and seconded to accept the minutes from our last meeting of December
December 15th.
15th. All those in favor, no, it was December, no, that's not the right, December 18th.
18th.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 5-0. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0.